Hello guys and welcome back. In the previous video we successfully implemented the local storage class to persist the user credentials after successful login. So right now if I just go to the database and from the users table I select a user and come here and paste it and also type the password, which is the password for all users. And if I click on the sign in, you can see right now we successfully logged into the system and also we are navigated to the opportunities page. And if I just click this refresh button, you can see we are directly navigated to the opportunities page and we no longer navigate the user to the login page. And this is why, because we persisted the user token here in the auth repository, and from that we know that this user is already logged in. Also, we need to just consider some other parts, and that is this token expiration that we stored there, and our tokens or the user token has a limited time, and we need to consider that. Also, we are not fetching the user here in the auth repository. But before doing anything, in the previous video I missed something here, and that is we need to just return we create a factory of this local storage class, and also we need to return this singleton that we created. So what does it mean? Means that whenever we are creating a new instance of this local storage class, basically what we are doing is we are returning always this singleton class, which is a static class. So means in the entire application we are accessing to a single instance of this local storage class, and this is really good because whenever we want to just set an item or get an item in this local storage class, we always have access to this single instance of this class, and we are not creating the instance again and again. And also I mentioned this token expiration and also the what you can say the user, but we are going to do it later and as we move forward. And right now my intention in this video is to start creating or to start fetching this these opportunities and just display it on the user. And if you remember from the design that we did in Adobe XD, so we have here the login page, and after successful login we are navigated to this opportunities page. At the top we have categories, and also here we have list of opportunities. So we need to fetch all these opportunities and display to the user. But before doing anything, what we need is we need to create a repository as we did with the auth, and also we did create this auth state. So we need to move forward like that. And for now what I need is we need to create another repository for our opportunities. So I'm going to the repositories and I will create another repository. I will call it as opportunity repository .dart. And this opportunity repository is similar to the auth repository, if you remember. And in that we have first of all this abstract class, and I told you about the benefits of using this abstract class, and then we have the implementation for that class. So the same way, what I'm going to do is first of all create an abstract class. I will call it as opportunity repository. So this is an abstract class, and inside this abstract class, first of all what we need is we need to fetch the opportunities. So we have a first opportunities, so we'll have a list of opportunities. So a list of opportunity, for that what we need is we need to create a class called opportunity to have a list of that class. So what I'm going to do is I am going to this classes, and I'm going to create another directory there, and I will call it as opportunity. So inside this opportunity I'm going to create a class called opportunity dart. So this is a class, basically class opportunity, and this opportunity class will have some properties and also factories and whatever we need. But before that, we need to find out what properties we have for this opportunity class. For that, I am going to open the Postman, and if you remember, we created this for set collection. So here, what I'm going to do is, let me open first of all my backend, and for the backend, if you see here, we have this list of, we have these routes, so basically a resource for the opportunity, and so we can fetch that. And before that, if you see here, so this is auth API, means this route needs some way of authentication. So what we need to do is, first of all, we need to just log in to get the token. So let me copy this token. And here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the local host. So I am going to delete this things after the API, and I will call it as opportunity. And for that, we need to have some way of authorization, and we need to have the authorization header, and we need to add the bearer, and we need to paste that token. So if I just send a request to this endpoint, you can see we get this nice formatted response. So let me just copy one of these items or objects, so the rest is similar. And if I come here inside this opportunity, let me paste it here. So if you see here, for the one opportunity, we have this object, and inside this object we have some methods like, let me first of all, let me do one thing, let me just comment it out. So we have the ID, which is integer, we have the title, we have the category, which is which has this ID and also the name, we have the country, we have the deadline, and so on. So what we need is, first of all, we need to use these fields as our properties for this class. So we have final integer ID, we have final string, which is the title, we have this final category. So we don't have this category class. What we need to do is, first of all, we need to create this category, and for that, let me go to this class, and I am going to just create another directory, and I will call it as common, because we are going to use this category maybe somewhere else. And inside the common, I'm going to create another class called category.dart. This category is also a class which have this final integer ID and final string name. If you see it here, so we have this ID and also we have the name. So let me copy this one, just paste it here for demonstration purpose. We have the category, has ID and name. And now what we want is, we don't want to create it from the constructor. Rather, what we want is, we want to have some factory, and for that we can call this category. So I will call this factory as from map, I will call it. So we can call it as from JSON. So what we will have from the Dart point of view, we will have this list or this object, and in Dart we will call this one as map of a string dynamic. So you can see that our keys are all a string, so the ID, the title, the category, and so on. But here the value is dynamic. Suppose here we have the ID, which is integer, and here we have the value as a string, and also here the value is an object. So what we will have is, we will have a map of a string, which is the key, and also dynamic, which is the value. So we'll call it as JSON Map. And from this map, what we want is, we want to create or instantiate our category class. So we'll have the ID, and this ID is coming from this JSON map, and from the JSON map we are interested in this ID. And if this is null, what we want is we want to return 0. And also for the name we have this JSON map, and from the JSON map we are just getting another field which is the name. And if the name from this JSON map is null, what we want is we want to return this empty string, and after this we need to put this semicolon. So basically what we are doing is we are instantiating this class with this factory. Okay, so right now what we can do is we can use this category. So the type is the category, and we need to just bring the category in, you can see, and I will call it as category. And another thing what we need is we need to create this country. So I am just going to copy this class of country, and I'm going to put it inside the common. So I will call it as country.dart. So this is a class called country, and I am going to paste these values. So we have final integer ID, we have final string which is the name, we have the final string fun code, final string fun code, we have final string country code. So this is it. And right now, same way that we did with the category, so we'll create a factory called from JSON. So I'll call it from JSON, and we'll have a map of string dynamic. We'll call it as JSON map. So let me put the colon here, and we'll have the ID, which is coming from this JSON map of the ID. And if it is null, we want to return 0. So let me just make a copy of these things. We'll have the name, and for the name what we need is we need to have an empty string. So let me delete this one. I will create a copy of this. So we'll have the fun code, and also we have the country code. And if these are null, we want to return empty strings. So right now we can use this country class here. So we will have final country, and this is the country. So the same way we have other properties, like we have final string deadline. If you see here, it is. And for this one we have the created by. So this created by is basically the user, and we have this opportunity detail. What I'm going to do is, because this is a really time consuming to do these things, I'm just going to pause the video and I'm going to create these classes. So this is basically the same as creating this country and also category. So I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to show it to you after creating these classes. Alright guys, so I have created the rest of properties. So we have the deadline, which is the string, and also we have the created by, and this created by is a type of user. So I have created another directory inside the classes and I call it as auth. So we have the user, so basically which is the created by with these properties. And so we have the first name, last name, bio, and email, which the type of these properties are string. And just like the same way that we did, I have created this user. And also we have the organizer string, but for the opportunity details, we have this opportunity detail, and I have created this opportunity detail class here inside the opportunities directory inside the these classes. So we have all these properties related to these opportunity details. So, and also here we can create this or we can instantiate these properties from this map of JSON, the same way that we did. And also we have this created add and also updated add. So basically these are a string. And from this classes, what we can do, we can create this opportunity class. So the first one is the ID integer. We have the JSON map, which is the title. And for the category, what we need to do is, first of all, we need to check the category which we are getting from this JSON map. And if it is not null, what we are doing is we are creating this category from JSON and we are passing this JSON to it. So basically, it will create an instance of this category class by using this factory, and we are passing this JSON map to it. So it just goes to this category, and here we have that JSON map that we passed, and from that JSON map we are just initializing the properties. Okay, and now for the rest we are checking the same way. For the country also we are checking if the country is not null, and then we are just creating it from with this map. And also if this is null, what we are doing is we are going to instantiate this country to null. So we have all this property the same way I did with the opportunity details, and so you can just get this code from the link in the description, which will head you to my GitHub repository. Okay, so this is how we can create this opportunity class. So we have this opportunity class, and right now inside the opportunity repository, what we have is, first of all, we need to get all the all the opportunities. And this will be a future list of opportunity. So this opportunity, the class, we'll call it as get all opportunities. So this is a class, and you know that the abstract class only has the definition, not the implementation. So we have this method which is defined here. We'll have a class opportunity repository, the same way we did IMPL, which is the implementation, so implements this one. So you can see right now, if I implemented that, we need to override this method. So by pressing Control dot or Command dot on Mac, we are going to just implement that method. So here we have this what we can say, we have these opportunities, and we need to implement it because right now we are throwing this unimplemented error. And this is the opportunity repository. We'll have more methods later on in this. We'll need to add the the opportunity, update an opportunity, and so on. So we'll add all those methods inside this repository. And if you remember, we have a state related to this repository as we had with our auth state. The same way, what we are going to do is we are going to create another state for the opportunity. So I will call it as opportunity state.dart, and this is a class. So this class will be named opportunity. So opportunity state. And this, first of all, will have the final, this opportunity repository. So we'll call it as opportunity repository. And what we need is we need to instantiate this one. So we need to create this constructor to initialize this repository. And we have this list of opportunities, first of all, list of opportunity. So we'll call it as opportunities. So basically this is, a private variable, and we cannot access it. For that, we need to have a getter for this one. So opportunity get opportunities, and this will return this opportunity. I hope you are familiar with this conventions in Dart. Basically, if we just precede a variable with the underscore, means that this variable is private and it is bounded to the scope of this class. So outside of this class, we cannot just modify it. and we are not able to get it. So to get an instance of it, what we need to do is we need to create this getter, and this will return the this private variable. Okay, and right now first what we need is we need to have a future. So for the type I'm not going to put anything, and this will be named as get all opportunities. So for this, if you just go to the opportunities, so let me just first of all open this opportunity controller, and inside the controllers, if I open this opportunity controller, you can see we are just paginating. So later on we will implement this pagination, because we are not going to just get all the data at once. It will occupy a lot of bandwidth and also resources. So and also the loading time would be a lot. So what we need to do is we are going to paginate it, and later we will implement this pagination inside our list. And also to implement that pagination, what we need is, first of all, we need to have an integer, which is the page. So we'll pass this one later on, and right now we are just going to get the first page opportunities. So for this, to get these opportunities, what we need is we need to first call this opportunities repository, and then from this we can just call this get all opportunities. And if you see here, this will return a future list of opportunity, and this opportunities basically is the opportunities. But if I just assign it like this, we will have an error, because this will return a future. So this is a future, will have this future list of opportunities, which is not list of opportunities. So to get that, what we need is we need to make this one as a sync, and we need to await for these opportunities to be returned from the this repository. So we have this, and right now we have basically all these things, and what we can do is we can use it inside our opportunities page. So if I just go to the presentation layer, and inside this presentation we have these opportunities, so we have opportunities page, and here currently what we have is we have just this scaffold. So inside this scaffold we have this app bar, which just says this opportunities page, and for the body what we are going to do is, first of all, I am just going to have a single child scroll view. So single child scroll view, to just this page should be scrollable. If you remember from this design, it is scrollable, so we need to have some mechanism of scrolling. So this single child scroll view is good for this, and this will have a child, and for this child right now I'm going to use a column. So let me put first of all a text for the testing purpose. You can see we have it here, and now for this before this column, what we need is, let me just cut it from here, we need to have a state builder item. So this state builder item is from the state rebuilder. If you see, from state rebuilder package that we used for our state management, and this state rebuilder will have these the states, and will rebuild itself accordingly. As we used it for our sign in page, if you remember, we used it here. So we have this state builder, and we can use it. So basically whenever there is a changes in that state, it will rebuild the UI. So first of all, this state rebuilder will accept some models, and these models we need to add, and also we need to have a builder. And this builder, I believe it just returns the context and also the model. So for the context, I'm not interested in the context, so let me use this model. But later on, what we need to have is we will have more than one one injector or one state rebuilder class here. So this model will just point to the first element there. So I'm going to return a widget because this builder method, the return type of this builder method is a widget. If I hover on it, you can see here. So for now, I am just going to return the column with the widgets, which doesn't exist yet. But right now, the problem is that we don't have the model, and if I hover on these models, you can see it is a list of state rebuilder dynamic. And state rebuilder dynamics, what we need is we need to inject it somehow. If you remember from the sign in page, we injected this list of this one. We injected this classes there, and so basically these are just somehow some kind of state rebuilder will just change the state whenever we are changing something, and we injected this into the this widget tree. So we need to have some mechanism of injecting these classes, and if I just put it here in this single instance, it's okay, but there is a problem. The problem is we want to just fetch the opportunities whenever we are coming to this page. So before calling this build method, so before this, what we want is we want to fetch our opportunities, and then at the build time we want to just build it here. So for that, what we need is we need to just go to the this main page here. Inside the main page, if you remember, we have this auth repository that we created before. So here, what we can do, we can create another one. Just let me copy this one, and right now I am going to create this one for our opportunity state. So it's there, but this opportunity state requires the opportunity repository, not the auth repository, if you just remember from the previous videos. So we'll have this opportunity repository implementation. So IMPL, this is good. So right now we have it, and we are able to access this. As we injected this opportunity state here in the widget tree before, inside the main. So right now we are able to get it anywhere inside this application. So what we want is right now, let me just, for the testing purpose, right now I am just going to the init state of this this widget, or this stateful widget, which is our opportunities page. And before that, let me just create a variable final. So I will call it as opportunities, state RM, or reactive model. And right now we are able to get that with the injector class.get as reactive. So we injected this opportunity state there in the main, and right now we are able to just get an instance of it. So let me just copy this opportunity state. So this is it, and just remember one thing, so let me just hide this navigation bar. Inside the main, we are injecting this first of all the auth, and also we injecting the opportunities state. So the order doesn't matter, because the state rebuilder class will just instantiate, or just first of all will instantiate or inject these classes there. But this is called some lazy instantiation or injecting. So means first of all we are injecting here, but the actual instantiation of this class is when we are using it. So doesn't matter if I just put first the opportunities and then the auth, and whenever suppose we need the auth or opportunities state inside the auth, so the order doesn't matter, so we can use it. So we can inject these states here, and later on whenever we are using, the actual injection will happen that time. So this is some kind of lazy injections or something called like that. It's really good. And right now what we need to do is, first of all, we can use this opportunities store from here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this set state, and this will state or will change the state of this opportunity, and we have this opportunity state here, and from this opportunity state, which is this one, so let me go here. So this opportunity state we injected there. So if I call opportunity state, gosh, why this is not coming? Oh, I missed to put double another p here. So if I call it opportunity state dot, so you can see right now we have access to this get all opportunities. So we are able to do that. So let me do one thing. So here inside the opportunity state, I'm going to just put a breakpoint here, and if I just refresh the app, you can see we are just right now we are here. And why we are here? Because in the init state of this this widget or this stateful widget, we are calling this the get all opportunities from this store opportunities state rm or opportunities state. And right now just what we can do, we can just go ahead, and if I just click like this one, you can see right now we are here, and if I just open the terminal, and so it's nothing coming out, but it should print something like unimplemented something. Yeah, it's coming, and this is why it's coming there, because we have this inside the opportunities repository, if you remember, we have this unimplemented method. So how we can implement it and how we can get those opportunities, let me put it here with the try and also catch. So catch on, so which is on .u error, catch e. So we have this one, and if we have something we want to throw, show network error that we created before. But before that, what we need to do is, first of all, we need to have a final suppose response. So response we have, and what we need is, first of all, we need to have this .u, and for the .u, if you remember, we created this ForSat API, if you remember, and for this we have two methods. First of all, we have this du, and also we have this du auth. So we'll implement this du auth in the next video, but right now what we want is, first of all, we need to, I'm just going to use this du, and this is from the ForSat API. So we have that ForSat API.du, and inside this du we have many methods. So this method, we have the post, we have the put, we have many things. So but right now we have the get method. So if you remember from this the postman, we have here the get method, and also we have this endpoint or this URL. I'm just going to put it there, and but this is there. We have this base URL, and this base URL is coming from here. So we have the base URL, which is till this 8000, and after that we have this /API/opportunities. So if I just go to this repository, what we can do, we can add it here, and we can just go ahead. But there is a problem. First of all, the problem is that if we do so, you can see that this is a feature of type response, and we need to make this function async, and we need to await for it. So we need to await for it, and right now what I'm going to do is I am just going to print this response. But before that, I'm quite sure we'll get an error, and I will tell you why. So let me put a comment, a breakpoint here, and also a breakpoint here, and I'm going to restart the app. So right now we are inside the opportunity state, and here if I just move ahead, you can see right now we are inside the opportunity repository, and if I just press this one, and again you can see right now we have this error, and the error is, let me just move ahead and open this debug console. So let me just put this one, and inside the call stack we have this. So let me open the watch. So we have this DO error. Oh God, let me close this thing. We have this DO error, and inside the response you can see we have this unauthenticated. And if I just move ahead, you can see right now an error occurred. So that's it. So we need to catch this error, and we need to have some mechanism for that, and we need to just find out. But the point is that we got a response from the server, and that unauthenticate means that our server here, if you remember, this endpoint is protected by this auth API. And if you remember before, I have added this authorization header to it. So what we need is we need to have some, this authorization header with this token inside that. And let me do that. But we have the token. If you remember, we stored the token inside the local storage. So first of all, let me add something here. I believe it has the options, and the option is the type of options, and this options I believe has the headers, and this headers is an object. And right now what we need is we need to have the, first of all, we need to have the authorization, and this authorization is basically this token. So we have this token, and now if I just refresh the app and just move ahead, so let me go, you can see that we got the response, and this response is coming from the server, and we have it here. So we have this response, and for the one thing that we need to add here inside the opportunity repositories, we are not going to hard code this what we can say, this token. So later on what we need to do is, first of all, let me do one thing, and we need to call the local our local storage class, and from that we can call the get item, and we need to pass the token. So let me first of all bring this class, the local storage, and also we need to pass the token. Let me bring the token also, and this is the token. But before the token, what we need is we need to add the bearer. So let me do it like this, and let me refresh the app, and right now let me move ahead. You can see we have the response, and this response is with this data. We have these errors, and these are from the state rebuilder, and we need to just put something like the observer and so on to just remove this error. And the good thing is that we got this response from the server. So we have this response, and the later thing that we need to add is, first of all, once we have this response, we need to create a list from it. So we have this list, so I'm going to call it as opportunities or whatever. So I'm going to put it at temp, and this temp is basically from this response.data, and from this data what we want is, so you can see we have this data, basically this object, and from this data we are interested in this data, so we need to put it in this way. So we have this data, and right now what we want is we want a list of opportunities. So what we can do is we can create a list of opportunities. So opportunity, and this list of opportunity is, I'm going to call it as opportunities, and these are coming from this temp.map, and this will map and will gives us the opportunity, single opportunity. And from this opportunity, what we want is we want to call the opportunity dot from JSON, and we are going to pass this opportunity to it. So this is how we can create that. But there is a problem, and we need to just add the to list to it, because it will not be a list anymore. So we have this one, and we can just return it. So we can return this list of opportunities. So we have it. We have this list of opportunities, and we can just map through it, and this is how we are getting the response, and we are just converting it. I think this video is getting longer and longer, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording, and in the next video we will implement, or just we got this data, but just what we are doing is we are going to display it on the the screen. So thank you for watching, and kindly subscribe and hit the bell button so you'll be notified about the upcoming videos. Thank you.